Third Eye Television, broadcasting from the Central Business District, Abuja. My name is Bivan Makoni, and to the headlines, President Bola Tinubu joins other African leaders who are attending the inauguration of Mr. John Dramani Mahama as the new president of Ghana, taking place today in the capital, Accra. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate announces plans to suspend plenary for 2 weeks to give consideration to the 2025 appropriation bill at the committee level. And also, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, dismisses 27 officers indicted for fraudulent activities and gross misconduct. Stay with us. We'll be right back for details of these stories and more.
For deeper analysis on security situation in Nigeria and beyond, watch Third Eye Africa TV.
Thank you for staying with us. Good afternoon. My name is Bivan Magoni. President Bola Tinubu is among African leaders who are attending the inauguration of John Dramani Mahama as the new president of Ghana, taking place today in the capital, Accra. Mr. Mahama, who served as the 12th president of Ghana between 2011 and 2017, was re-elected in December 2024. He is succeeding President Nana Akufo-Addo. President Tinubu's trip to Accra is at the invitation of the new Ghanaian president, who had visited the Nigerian leader earlier in December. A statement issued on Monday by presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga said Mr. Mahama and President Tinubu have a long-standing personal relationship, just like Nigeria and Ghana maintain a long-standing bilateral relationship. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has announced plans to suspend its plenary for 2 weeks, starting from January 14, 2025, as both the chambers of the National Assembly prepare to focus on committee-level consideration of the proposed 49.7 trillion naira budget for 2025. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Solomon Olamilekan Adeola, disclosed this on Monday during a meeting with the chairman of the Senate Standing Committees. Senator Adeola revealed that Thursday's plenary has been set as an open day for stakeholders' input on the budget, including presentation from heads of ministries, departments, and also agencies. He has stated that January 31 has been tentatively set as the date for the presentation of the reports on the 2025 appropriation bill to both the Senate and the House of Representatives at plenary. However, he noted that the timeline was subject to adjustment depending on the progress of deliberations. Moving on, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has dismissed 27 officers who were indicted for fraudulent activities and gross misconduct from the workforce. The officers were dismissed in 2024 following the recommendation of the Staff Disciplinary Committee of the Anti-Graft Agency, which was ratified by its executive chairman, Master Ola Olukoyede. EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale said the chairman reiterated the commitment of the commission to zero tolerance for corruption, warning that no officer is immune from disciplinary actions. The Katsina State Commissioner of Police, Masa Aliu Musa, on Monday decorated a total of 181 newly promoted officers of the command with their new ranks in a ceremony held at the command's headquarters, Katsina. The Commissioner of Police, while congratulating the newly promoted officers, charged them to uphold the highest standards of professionalism, dedication, integrity, and transparency in the course of their duties. Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Aminu Abdul Karim, who spoke on behalf of the officers, appreciated the Inspector General of Police and the Chairman of the Police Service Commission for finding them worthy of the promotion and promised to give their best in serving the nation. He further expressed a gratitude to the Commissioner of Police for his support and mentorship, which has been instrumental in their career growth. Operatives of the Nigeria Police Command in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, have arrested over 50 suspects for their alleged involvement in the vandalism and theft of highway sewage manhole covers, and other heinous crimes in the nation's capital city. This is even as the police recovered over 25 manhole covers, vehicles, and other equipment used for committing the crime. Parading the suspects in Abuja, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Master Olatunji Disu, said police operatives conducted a targeted operation leading to the arrest of the 50 suspects. He said the police also recovered vandalized items from the suspects. Meanwhile, a suspected improvised explosive device IED detonated at an Islamia school in the Kuchibiu community of Bwari Area Council, Abuja, killing one student and injuring 4 others. The chairman of the Bwari Area Council, Mr. John Gabaya, confirmed the incident Monday evening. The explosion reported around noon caused widespread panic within the school and surrounding communities. The deceased student was reportedly carrying the explosive device when it detonated. It was gathered that the school had earlier in the day held a resumption assembly to welcome newly admitted students who had resumed on January 3, 2025. And that's the news right here coming from Third Eye, broadcasting from the Central Business District. Stay with us as we come back for the newspaper headlines and also reviews. Do stay with us. Joining us on the show this afternoon, we have our in-house analyst and public affairs commentators. We have Dahiru Hassan Kera, and also we have Ben Shemang right here with us. Good afternoon, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
Good to see you. How's it been? How was your day? And how was yesterday's, how do you say, we work officially yesterday. So how's it been? What have you achieved? Mr. Ben, let's start with you.
Yeah, do I call it an achievement? All I can say as a reporter is that I saw signs that workers or Nigerians have returned from Christmas and New Year Day. What are New Year? What are my indicators? Traffic jam.
It's back. Yeah,
It's back. So that tells you those days that you could just maybe be skipping on the road across the highway is gone. So Nigerians are back to work.
Really, I agree with you because sometimes staying in Abuja here, you used to see traffic. I mean, the traffic don't used to be that dry, but this period it was something else. Do you have a contrary viewpoint?
Well, like you said, New Year is here. We're starting fresh in a high spirit. So let's just see how.
And we are also doing a newspaper review. Remember that our vendors also disappeared.
It just resumed today.
Okay,
So
that's a
start
good
out
one.
fresh.
Yes, right. So we are going to take a look at some of the headlines we have from our new national dailies right here. We're starting with the Nation newspaper. We have court orders of Pebble Assembly, orders to maintain status quo on Edo councils, which you can find on page 28 of the Nation's newspaper. Then Senate House begin work on 49.7 trillion 2025 budget estimates. MDAs take turns to defend allocation before National Assembly committees. You can find on the front page of this paper. And then continue on page 4 of the same newspaper. Federal government revives bid to float national carrier, which you can find on page 6 of the Nation. And then on page 20 we have Wike vows to punish those removing sewage manhole covers. And then we have on page 28 and also page 5, EFCC sacks 27 operatives for fraud and misconduct. Borough offers master's degree scholarship to 300 graduates. And then looking down, troops ISWAP in bloody Borno battle. And then China virus and CDC reactivates COVID-19 protocols. And of course, which means that we have a lot to see in the next coming days. Is it going to be like 2020? Well, you can take a look at that newspaper there. You can find the story on page 4, on the front page, and then continue also on page 4 of the same newspaper. And then screening of incoming passengers at borders begins. No cause for alarm yet. And then looking at the foreign stories, of course, this is supposed to make it to almost every newspaper. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau quits. And Sarkozy on trial for Gaddafi cash. You can find our story on page 3 of the nation's newspaper. And then, well, you can go down there and look at it. And then we have Ghana's new president, John Mahama, and his offer, Kwara State connection. You can find that on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. So this is where we get to ask our guests to react to these stories. Which of the stories do you think you can react to? Starting with you, Ben.
Yeah, I think it has to do with security.
Okay.
Not necessarily the budget, security. Because without security, the budget itself is a nullity. Without security, you can spend most of your money on the budget. So we're talking of a situation where ISWAP, the Islamic State of West African Province, and the Nigerian army troops, I mean, they had a clash. One is, however, worried when they say bloody clash. And the next thing is you say, okay, soldiers are gone. So what about the casualty on the side of ISWAP? Why is the paper so quiet about that? So there are times we journalists tend to glorify the actions of the enemy and making the Nigerian soldiers look like some mere Boy Scouts, that should be reacting to situations. In war situations, there's what you call the aggressor. The aggressor is supposed to be the Nigerian army, the defender of the nation, but you make them look like they have to react to what the terrorists are doing. You take the war to them so that they don't take the war to the civilians. And we have to thank them, by the way, because they are always awake so that we, the helpless, can sleep and even marry. But to what extent do we actually appreciate the army, the air force, the navy, the police? Everybody just pushes them with a wave of hand. It's like, no, they are incapable. They are capable. We do hope that the National Assembly, because probably we might be talking about the budget, we need to have a budget that supports the military. And thank God, budget 2025, the security agencies or security generally, defense, takes the largest chunk. And taking the largest chunk, you see, we must not waste time trying to buy this equipment. The terrorists know when you have a stockpile of arms. Well, they also know when the stockpile is depleted, and that's when they strike.
You see, when we go by what people do say when we talk about security, and people say Nigerian military can quash or squash or get rid of any insurgency within the shortest possible time, and even for what they enjoy from the conflict. Could that be the reason why security is always getting a chunk? Is it for to combat the security? And in combating insecurity, we don't really see it. Like, we've had this insurgency for over a decade, or shall I say for 2 decades. I think Boko Haram started when I was still in secondary school or something. Dahir, I think 2007, 2008 or so.
Around 2010.
Even before
during Jonathan's administration.
Yaradua.
Yaradua. It started during Yaradua.
So,
around 2010.
Isn't it enough? Over a decade, you haven't gotten rid of these people, and every year defense keeps getting the highest chunk of the budget.
Yeah, so what is inflation also talking about? Because you can get the highest and thinking that you might go there and get armored personnel carriers, the MRAPs, anti-mine carriers. You budget for 100 and your money can only buy 20 because of inflation. Then you're also fighting what is called asymmetric war. This war, you hardly can say that is the enemy in uniform. They are not in uniform. And that was why Jonathan at the point is saying, look, even those who are with Boko Haram are whining and dining with me in government house. Why was he saying so? There were sponsors around. Who actually brought Boko Haram? We all know the story. Someone somewhere just created what he called ECOMOC at that time. And when the time came, he was no longer taking care of them. These guys decided to arm themselves. Look, we can take care of ourselves without resort to the governor. So sometimes when you just say the military can't do it, the budget is there and all that stuff. Yes, the budget might be there. Look, I was a director in a federal agency. Each time we needed money, I would naturally write to the director general. We need money for this. We need money for this. We need for this, and you just see approved with red biro. Does approval mean money has come? No. In the same vein, when you have a budget is just a mere wish. I will spend this amount on so, provided there's a provision, provided money will come via taxation, via borrowing, via this. And we are busy resisting taxation. So it's a very big gamut of things happening.
Well, looking at the fact that if government means business, it knows exactly what to do and how to go about it. Because personally, as an individual, I cannot be the head country, and there are some elements that will come and destabilize it. Now, this takes me to the conversation I usually see in reference to Sani Abacha, who said, and that's the former head of state, of course, who is somebody you know very well, and who said, even so, I didn't really say that because that's what I came across anyways. If insurgents last for more than 24 hours, the government has a hand in it. So it me to question the fact that these guys have been there, Boko Haram has been there, and then the headers first clash, some high level of terrorism came into place, and up to today, and then the Lakra was like keeping up. It sounds very, very like we are not serious about security in this country.
People are serious about this country. The Abacha you're talking about, right from day one. Day one, they sought for me to even record what he was to address, what he was to say to the nation. I did it. I was with Mohamed Labo of NTA. I was with Haruna Idris of Eversel. The three of us sat down with about this with other people, and I recorded that. But talking about Abacha himself, truly, he was a man of just few words. But if you are talking of action, where is the war? Abacha is going there. He wasn't a man who would sit down and tell you stories. And that was why around his time, you could see that there were no armed robbery here and there, the way it later on came to be. Exactly. And if you're talking about just taking the war to where the crisis is, Abacha was the type who will go there. Apart from just pressing him and all that stuff, once you have a war situation that is not owned by the people, there's a crisis. What do I mean? You have a situation where you catch some boys, someone will say, no, they belong to my family. We know their parents. We know this. Therefore, they are innocent. The army is just dealing with innocent people. They should go and catch the real. But when children move around, it's like the proverbial saying, the mother monkey carries its baby at the back. As the mother moves around, baby stretches hand and plucks something. Mother doesn't know. In other words, when you have children, to what extent do you know what they are doing, where and when? Also, in a cemetery war, everybody has to, once you identify a bad guy within the system, identify him. Don't just say it's my blood relation. No, he's my religion. No, in that religion, he's my sect. You begin to defend what is not defendable. Even when the facts are so palpable. You have arrested this man, so no, he's innocent. That kind of thing. The war will not end that way. And if it were a conventional war, it is we versus them. And there's even a line of demarcation. There are lines, battle lines. You are moving this way, they are moving this way. You push them, they move away. You push them, then it means you are conquering. But in a cemetery war, it's not like that.
Okay, let's get back to Dahiro here. You listen to the headlines from the Nation newspaper. You can you please react to any of the stories? We have the EFCC sacking 27 operatives. UK vows to punish those removing sewage manholes. Federal government revives bid to float national carrier. And then the Senate House begin work on 49.7 trillion naira 2025 budget estimate. You can react to any of these stories.
Well, let me react on the issue of the budget. Mr. Ben has said, real situation, budget is just a roadmap. You understand? Mostly, budget proposal is being drafted to the National Assembly for approval and as you understand. But it's not yet over until if the government can realize the funds as being envisaged in the budget, then the next stage of say execution of project. If you look at our previous budget performance, you understand there's nothing to write home about. Sometimes and on the issue of security, which is the paramount issue to discuss here, because without security, nothing will happen. Has been said, we've battling a lot of internal aggression. We started, like we've been discussing the Boko Haram that started for more than 10 years. You understand? They still been waxing so stronger. And was it 2 or 3 days there was an encounter with the military, and there are some casualties on the military. So sadly, like Mr. Ben said, there should be also a casualty on the side of the insurgents, but yet the newspaper decided to maybe pronounce that on the side of the army. But notwithstanding, I think the budget on the military, you understand, is something that concerns virtually everybody because of the prevailing insecurity situation. Like I was saying, we have Boko Haram in the northeast, and we now have kidnappers in the northwest. You understand? We now have flowers and here and there. You understand? And this morning we were discussing during the Hausa belt that one. I think a kidnapper that's Dogo Gide, a very pronounced criminal in the northwest, has been asking some communities, not few of them in the northwestern part of the Zamfara, particularly in Sati local government, they have to pay a levy of about 100 million for them to stay in their villages. This is very sad, and it links to the provision of the security. You understand? Once this war is very costly. You understand? It's capital intensive, and if, for instance, the military, and other agencies, paramilitary agencies, cannot get equipments, and you understand, we can continue fighting this war. At the end of the day, we can never win because, like I said, he has a personal information regarding the security. Those criminals, you understand, they have their informants within even the government, even the security agencies, and even the communities. They inform them when the military have a stockpile of gadgets to fight them, and they tell them when they have no all these weapons to do the bidding. So they attack strategically. If they know our military are weak, they don't have enough weapons to go to the war front, they took the war to them. So these are things that we should look into this 2025 budget. You understand? No matter what, let's just put emphasis on the provision of the military equipments and other things, so that at the end of the day, they can beat those criminals that have been fighting the nation internally.
Okay, we now move toward Blueprint, a newspaper. Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms. We wrote 6 governors. Only Ubasani and Sanwo-Olu met us. You can find that on the front page of Blueprint newspaper, and also continued on page 8 of the same newspaper. 2025 budget, Senate to suspend plenary for 2 weeks on resumption. Now sets January 31 as tentative date for passage. You can find it there on the Blueprint newspaper, page 8. Find on page 1 and then continuation on page 8. And then Abuja school explosion kills 2 students, injures 4. Police confirm 18 injured in Port Harcourt gas explosion. And then looking at Makinde alleges bandits relocating to Oyo from Northwest. You can find that on page 6. And then in business, which is on page 21 of the same newspaper, Port Harcourt refinery, where refineries will boost Naira value, address FX challenges. And to support also, Chan, home Eagles will shine at tournament, says captain. You can find it on page 32 of the newspaper. And then on a sad note here, I killed Okada rider, sold mission for 310,000 naira in Niger State, says suspect. And you can find our story on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. And then EFCC dismisses 27 officers for fraudulent activities and misconduct. You can find on page 6 of the same newspaper. To page 7, police arrest 50 suspected vandals in Abuja. And page 22, Nigeria records 63.7% surge in diaspora remittances in the year 2024. And finally, Ibadan Stampede, Oni's ex-queen, Agidigbo boss, the principal must face trial. OYSG said, that's what you state government said. And you can find out on page 7 of the Blueprint newspaper. And then, of course, we're back to our guest here to react to any of the stories from Blueprint newspaper. We're starting with you, Dahiru.
Well, I wonder, this issue of tax has been lingering, you understand, for a very long time. And there's a lot of brainstorming here and there, you understand. I remember the governor's visit, Mr. President. He said there doesn't have any problem. But yet, at the end of the day, most of the governors, particularly from the northern part of the country, are against the new tax law, you understand. And my problem with this issue of tax, whether they wrote to the governors and some of them made them or not, you know, I think it goes beyond governors. We run a democracy. We have a kind of National Assembly who are representative of the people. We have the Senate, about 106 or 8. We have about 360 House of Reps who are representing the over 200 million Nigerians. You understand? You know, there's need to wider kind of enlightenment campaigns. You understand? You cannot impose things that people doesn't trust. You understand? To impose on them. You know, there's this disconnect between the government and the public. If there is trust, I think there's nothing people will be thinking, this thing is not good for us here and there, you understand. A lot of people, beyond the governors, the ulamas, religious leaders, traditional leaders, especially from the northern part of the country, have been raising up against this tax. I think it's better to open up dialogue, you understand, meet the people, even if it warrants to do a kind of town hall meeting and all that is, let people understand what the whole thing is being entails of, you understand.
But also, I feel like, don't you think it will give the northern leaders, governors, and all these people mentioned, don't you think it's going to make them to sit up when we allow the federal government to do what it's doing? Because at a point in time, it seems like our political leaders from the north have been too relaxed, and they pay little or no attention to the yearnings and what is necessarily needed for the development of the north. So the way the conversation is sounding, Lagos, Port Harcourt are going to take a larger chunk of derivatives at the end of, you know, everything and all of that, because they produce more, they are more resourceful, the way the conversation is going. And the north is saying, look, this is not the case. I think that's the silent undertone behind all of this. But at a point in time, if you go back in time, the north, most especially the leaders, have not really sat up and say, let's do the right things to empower people to make our own wealth. At a point in time, the Kano Groundnut Pyramid sustained Nigeria, right? At a point in time, that was the conversation. And all of these things started, you know, dissipating and all of that. The textile industries and others that we have in northern Nigeria, all of them are not working. I think under President Muhammadu Buhari at a point in time, we also saw something that had to do with the Groundnut Pyramid in Kano. What happened to that pyramid in Kano when it started within the rice pyramid was it in Kebbi or Kano? What happened to the rice pyramid in Kebbi? So we see more of politics instead of real leadership. And with the way it is, I don't know, don't you think it's going to make leaders from the north wake up and sit up and do the right thing?
No, I would be happy if that would be kind of for them to sit up. You know, all these industry leaders you mentioned that I'm about, you understand. You know, there's been a kind of call, especially from the 19 northern states, you understand. They have this northern governors forum and all that is. They've been meeting here and there, and nothing positive is coming from all these meetings. You know, if they can buy all this from the industries, you understand, they can stand a chance of maybe getting the same thing Lagos have been supposed to get in the proposed bill. But notwithstanding, Nigeria belongs to all of us, you understand. If there's maybe this belief, you understand, the president has, in his own wisdom, set the tax law, maybe not going back on the tax, new tax bill,
Reform
you
bill.
understand. But I think we're in democracy. There's need for a wider conversation with the stakeholders and other things. Let people understand the content of this tax and agree and disagree.
So
Because
in your one,
before the-
in your one understanding now, what is the content of this tax bill that you feel like people need to know about right now, since it's creating a lot of ruckus and people? It seems people are
it's
getting
a
it down about.
bulky, it's a bulky document. It has a lot of gray areas. You understand? That is why I say, okay, there's need for more consultation within the stakeholders, the governors themselves, the National Assembly members. Most of them stood out and said no, they didn't agree here and there. You understand? Let them understand. You understand? All the gray areas should be resolved. You understand? Before the enactment of such law. You know, so you cannot bring a law where your citizens are not believe in it. You understand? I think there's need for, like I insist, wider consultation on the side of the government. We have a national orientation agency, and they you understand, a lot of them. Let government open up. I saw some clips. Even the chairman of the task committee, federal government task committee, was at the time against most of the laws, the content of the bill. So I think there's call for concern, and I think if people doesn't believe, if people raise eyebrow, you understand, there's need to understand their grievances, you understand, not just the president stand up and say, okay, the tax bill is here to say here and there, you understand. Let's just open up, let people understand the content, let people agree with the content. That is why if you have bill now, you send a bill to the
National
National Assembly. You understand? The committee will look at the bill. You understand? Before it will be vetted in the National Assembly. You understand? It will pass first, second reading. You understand? Before passing, even after passing, then they will send back to the president for assent and other things. I think the same process should be followed on this tax bill and other things. Let people understand its contents. Let people agree with its contents. We are all Nigerians, and if one part of the country are saying no, we doesn't understand, we doesn't like it, okay, what is your grievances? What are your problems? You understand? Let them tell the committee these are our problems. Since the committee said they wrote to some governors and only two made them, okay, what is the excuses for the other governors? That we have about 19
governors.
you understand? Then maybe you need to follow up. Those governors have to be consulted. National Assembly members have to be consulted. Stakeholders, we have various stakeholders in the captain of industries, we have traditional rulers, we have religious leaders. All this segment of the societies are saying their
And
own
even
opinion.
the youth voices,
Yes, of
should
course.
be
There were a
listened
lot
to.
of views and cries on the same issue. I think we should understand the need for a wider consultation and understanding of the whole content.
Okay, Mr. Ben, let's come back to you here. We have this Okada man who killed, sold the machine for 310,000 naira. We have the Makinde alleging that bandits are relocating to the northwest. Port Harcourt Warri refineries will boost naira value and also exchange rate. And then sports, Super Eagles, Home Eagles, promising to shine at the tournament at the Chan 2025 tournament. And then the Presidential Committee on Tax Reform, which you just talked about now. Which of the stories do you think you want to comment on?
I think I want to still go security.
Okay.
The motorcycle rider who pretended to be a passenger and thereafter stabbed the man and sold the motorcycle. And the fact that there's also the information from Sheyi Makinde that terrorists are moving from northwest and entering the forests in Yoruba Kingdom, even when they have Amotekun there. This is a security outfit where all the governors of Southwest just decided they should come out one single soul and fight. So far it's been stable. But for one to have this kind of a warning signal that they are coming, If you've already seen the signal, it is therefore time for the security agencies to come in. And how do you do that? Since you have Amotekun, you replicate what is obtainable in Northeast, especially Borno State. You have the Civilian Joint Task Force. These are youths, ladies, gentlemen, all tribes, all religions. They all are one in the fight against terrorism. And what do they do there? Look, since they know virtually every nook and cranny of those areas, they're always taking the lead, and the soldiers will follow. Why is it so? Because the soldiers, you find some are coming from Akwa Ibom, some are coming from Sokoto, some are coming from Benue. They all converge there. The place is new. What they did is to just get some map reading, and they follow. But when you now have this Civilian Joint Task Force, they are always ahead. They know every river, and they know every stream. They know, therefore, then the soldiers will also move in. I do remember that there were times the road you're following, Boko Haram had just blown the roof, the bridge. Now, before you pass, after blowing the bridges, they plant bombs around the area. So painstakingly, this guy will move with some sensors, with some identifiers, this improviser. Yes. By the time you just hear some crunching noise with signals coming, they know something is around. Everybody is at a standstill. Now, they just move. As they move, the distance is reducing, then they just realize the thing is there. The experts will now sit down there, realize the area, comb it, begin to excavate the sound. As soon as they get it, they just make it important, and they just take it. So it's not easy fighting the war. A distance like Gamborungala to Maiduguri that ordinarily should take some maybe just under 1 hour. It would take us around 9 good hours to go to that place. 9 good hours to return, because the bombs were all over the place. So the moment you're hearing this kind of stories coming from the southwest, especially coming from a governor, these are already warning signals. If they're going to arm the Amotokun, please do. If also the state police, as is being proposed, if they are coming on board, let's do it with speed, because all the investments you're thinking about will just go into thin air if care is not taken. And talking about, as a criminologist, there's this thing you call broken window theory in terms of criminality. It starts from a very simple thing. You park a car, you wind down, or you didn't wind down, somebody peeps, sees a lady's back or something precious there. How do I take this? Or even in a community, your son comes with a chicken. He said, no, it's just chicken. No, it's just from there he graduates. So that little thing, that broken window thing, demand begins to, from chicken to, in fact, it started from taking biscuit from a table. Then from there to chicken.
I remember
chicken
how
to goat.
back home.
Exactly.
Stealing starts from eating drinking your babies, your little brothers or younger sisters.
Those kind. So in as much as you think they are just little, if you don't nip them in the bud. I was telling a woman yesterday, look, you had children in your car. Some were just standing in the car. Chief of an army staff or chief of, was it the Air Force, was supposed to turn around. So there was a blockage of the road. She just zoomed in to cross. But the foreman had already blocked everywhere. And she did some marching of brake sharply and stopped crunching noise. I said, madam, for the sake of your children, don't just say Junior will cry so he can't sit behind. That is a security issue itself. Why were you roaming into those? You could be misfired. because they say, we don't know your mission. What were you doing? So some little security things that ought to be nipped in the bud, like we are saying, Shea Makinde has seen something, people should react suddenly and immediately.
Okay, we're talking security here, and there is a part of security that's not well discussed in the FCT. It is the issue of scavengers, where about 50 of them were arrested by the FCT Police Command, and they are undergoing serious interrogation at the moment. But this is what happened yesterday. Security is a serious issue, or insecurity is a serious issue in the FCT. Yesterday, I was at the Central Business District when somewhere around Bolingo Hotel, and I had thief, Barao, and all of that. And I saw this guy cutting across the canal behind as if he's going towards Church Gate, but he changed his mind and started running towards Naik building, and all of a sudden there was a guy in front of me, and I said, that's the thief that's coming towards your way. And the guy rushed to go and grab him, and all of a sudden the thief pulled out a dagger. I'm talking about yesterday morning around 7:30. He pulled out a dagger. He wanted to stop the guy, but the guy wasn't close enough, so he was just tearing the air. And another person came out from NIWA, National Inland Waterways Authority, and the guy came. He wanted to grab him, and he said, no, he has a knife on him. So what he did was he ran away, picked up a rock and hold it at him, and people started holding pebbles, stones, and other objects at him. So this is the truth here. The FCT is not really safe at the moment, and there are cases of this guys roaming around. But can you react to these stories? Of course, I would like to hear your opinions on this.
So let me come in quickly. You see, this thing I was talking about, broken window theory, it really started from a little thing to somewhere, and those children were not sanctioned. Now we're having a magnitude of, why will you go to a sewage cover and remove it? Because the iron is precious. You can now sell it. You see all sorts of vehicles they call scrap metals. Now they are really not scraps. If you go to some churches or mosques, these ones that do open preaching with big loudspeakers, you just carry the loudspeaker, steal it, fold it, bend it very well so that it looks like scrap. Now vehicles, unknowingly, motorists will just run into some of these manholes. You see vehicles, some assaulting. Children are now orphaned because parents have been killed because some thieves are doing what ought not to be. The other time yesterday, I was cracking a joke. I said a policeman has been stolen. What do I mean by that? When you have CCTV cameras installed under bridge in some strategic areas, people now go to steal those cameras. It's like the policeman being stolen on duty. Now, if we were to have this kind of cameras, look at what happened in, was it Atlanta? Someone went and planted a bomb and it exploded, killed some athletes. Now, all that the American security guys could do was to now look at the cameras. Okay, now, who is not dressed in sporting affairs? Then they looked and saw two guys. Good. At that scene, since it was destroyed, they started looking around, all the cameras around. They saw the two guys walking out this way. Now, they said, this team continue reversing the camera. Where did they come from? Then you monitor these ones. From this scene, when this thing happened, where did they pass and where did they go? So when these ones were going this way, they traced to where this camera will stop here, the next camera will take over, the next camera will take over. Then over here, when they pass this camera, they will meet the next camera, they'll meet the next camera. There was a point of convergence. This one's reversing, stopped at a certain number of a house. This one coming, these guys went and again returned to that same. So, what am I trying to point out? We had cameras in this Abuja as a kind of a test running. Just a moment, just a moment.
Really active?
Yeah, they were active. The thieves never allowed them to walk. I tell you, I don't know whether I'm supposed to be revealing some things I saw in Maiduguri, but I do saw a nice job done by the cameras. You could see I think Kano, okay, I can say the one of Kano. At the point they were installing this, the governor, when we went for Guild of Editors conference, the governor actually took us there. And we could see many streets in Kano. There's a control room. If you are talking of Taroni, you are talking of this, you are talking of that, you could see the cameras. Each camera has a number per street. If there's an issue there, they just inform the police. Look, camera, so, reach there, there is this issue there. And before you know it, people will go there, whether they are Hisba or the conventional police. But here we did not allow that project to work. They started stealing it. Then the next thing, oh, the installation was not finished. Then you needed to review the contract because inflation had come in, someone delayed and all that stuff. The cameras were working. And Nigerians, we're not talking of foreigners, coming to do this kind of destruction, would have been having it nice in this in Abuja. This stealing of manhole covers wouldn't have happened without being noticed. And so call has come. FCT Minister, I'm addressing you now. Please bring back our cameras.
Thank you. I think that's a brilliant one. Let's hear from you, Dayo.
Well, let me take up with him. You know, this it's a failure on our own intelligence gathering. Like I said, the broken window theory, you understand? You've been seeing these scavengers, you understand, overnight, going with sack, you understand? Nobody will stop them and ask them, what's the
What are you
content?
carrying in the middle of the night?
You understand? This is a failure on the side of even the society, you understand? I saw someone in Guarimpa here. The scavenger was trying to pass through a kind of street like this. He said, if you enter this street, I will deal with you. You know, the guy is a thief. You know, most of them, you know, they took advantage, carrying the bag, you understand. Nobody cautioned them. Nobody will stop them and ask them, you understand. They will carry all these manhole covers and all that. They will carry everything they see valuable, precious. They will carry and put inside that bag. And another thing, the buyers. You understand? If we can do enough investigation, intelligence gathering, we can know who is buying from them. You understand? All he has said, people are just, you can take something that is very precious, very valuable, you can just destroy it so that it can become a kind of scrap, you understand, and go and sell it out. Even at the point of selling out, you see that they have a means of destroying those things so that they will look like scrap, you understand? I think the police, the security agencies should work off and maybe start putting their eyes on those people roaming about the street in the names of scavengers and all that is, because most of them, if you can see those people being arrested, you understand, those guys that are carrying bags and other things, just roaming about the street, some of them in the middle of the night, you see them, what have they been doing? Which business is, you are not a security man and you can stay throughout the night doing nothing, stealing people's property, you understand? I think no matter what you've been doing, at least the daytime should have been enough for you to do your scavenging and other things. But you see them early in the down, you understand, in the midnight, going out, roaming out about the street. I think the security should put eye on those guys.
I think we've said nothing but absolute truth here on the issue of scavenging in the FCT. You know, I took an observation traveling to Kaduna a couple of months ago, all the way from Zuba down to Gonigora in Kaduna. You know, the road is on 2 lanes, and in the middle, you see this concrete barricade. They were broken from Zuba down to Kaduna. What are they looking for? They are looking for metals, and I think something has to be done about it seriously. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the show today. We're back tomorrow with more stories, but remember, there's only one thing we want you to do for us. Like, share, comment, and of course, we'll keep on serving you. You're the reason why we're here. We're doing what we're doing here. And because we need to keep on doing what we need to do, we need you to encourage us. Thank you for staying with us. It is Third Eye Television broadcasting from the Central Business District, Abuja. My name is Bivan Magoni. Do enjoy the rest of your day.